that, big breaking news which is coming in on the front of the presidential poll. Sharad Pawar has invited Asaduddin Owaisi, AIMIM chief, for this meeting. NCP, AIMIM meet will be discussing the presidential candidate. Owaisi has thanked Pawar for this invitation. But this at a time when you have NCP's alliance partners, the Congress, lashing out at Asaduddin Owaisi and the AIMIM in the midst of this political alliance partner. The NCP has called AIMIM, trying to build a consensus candidate with them for the presidential push. Remember, there are 3 candidates, and the latest one was Mahatma Gandhi's grandson, who has also declined to be the presidential candidate for the opposition's United Front. Let me go across to Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan, our senior editor. Madhav, this is very interesting. Asaduddin and Sharad Pawar to be meeting over the presidential race. What can we expect?
Well, Asaduddin Owaisi's party has been invited. He has been invited himself, and he has accepted the invitation in the sense that he has thanked Sharad Pawar and the NCP for their invitation, and has assured that one of his representatives, most likely a member of parliament, would be attending this particular meeting. Now, this is of course assuming significance, because it is ultimately a numbers game when it comes to the Rajya Sabha, or the Lok Sabha. For the presidential polls, every MLA's vote, every MP's vote does count. It does have its own significance. So that is of course one important aspect. Also on test here is opposition unity. If there is the index of opposition unity is something that opposition parties want to actually show and demonstrate that they can in fact take on the government in this particular regard. In the past, we have seen TRS and Aam Aadmi Party not attending the last meeting. The TRS, of course, had cited its differences with the Congress party and did not want to be seen on the same platform as a party that is competing with in the state of Telangana. The Aam Aadmi Party, however, is waiting for what the announcement is as far as the presidential candidate is, what indicating to us. But all of this is happening in the background of all the 3 names that were suggested not working out. Sharad Pawar, of course, had refused, then Farooq Abdullah declining, and now news coming in of Gopal Krishna Gandhi also declining being the candidate. So what really is a name, and who is that one face that the opposition can project? In the past also, we have seen presidential polls are largely about a conscience vote and trying to give the government a fight. In this particular case, will the opposition be able to do that and at the same time maintain unity within their ranks? That's what we have to watch out for, and that's why tomorrow's meeting becomes that much more important.
Absolutely. Let me in fact go across to Mr. R. Rajagopalan, who's joining us, a political analyst. What do you make of this meeting between Sharad Pawar and one of the representatives of Asaduddin Owaisi? Do you think they can reach middle ground? Do you think opposition parties can actually come together despite 3 of their candidates themselves bowing out?
Now, since these opposition parties have failed, 17 political parties have failed to arrive at a consensus of one candidate, they got into 3 divisions. One is, Farooq Abdullah, Gopal Krishna Gandhi. Now they are trying to have 4th person. That means Owaisi means that the candidate of Sharad Pawar, who has in mind, must be a minority person. Apart from that, Meghna, I tell you, much before the election started, process started, presidential polls, Mamata Banerjee convened a meeting and announced the name of Sharad Pawar. That is a flop show. Second thing, since opposition has no candidate, it becomes very easy for the government to go in for a candidate who will get more than 65% of the votes, according to my calculations. Apart from just now, Madhav Gopalakrishnan was describing, what the 2 names are making rounds in Delhi circles is from Congress, Mallikarjun Kharge, they want to zero in on him. And second thing, Sam Petroda. Whether Sharad Pawar will agree to this, we do not know. Tomorrow's meeting is also going to be a flop show, because tomorrow evening, my understanding, BJP is going to announce set of details of the presidential polls. What is that Central Parliamentary Board meeting and leaders meeting, NTA meeting? The set of dates are going to be announced tomorrow. So therefore, tomorrow Sharad Pawar show will also be a flop show.
Mr. Rajagopalan, now you mentioned minority appeasement, which is why I would like to ask you the next question. Asaduddin Owaisi has been very vocal about the NCP specifically, even about the Congress party, saying every time you need our votes, you come running to the minority sections. However, when we need you, you are never there. He said that specifically about the NCP as well as the Congress.
But NCP in the Maharashtra elections, Rajya Sabha elections, the MIM voted for it. Asaduddin Owaisi voted for Sharad Pawar. So therefore, they are hand in glove, Meghna.
Okay.
Apart from that, my understanding is opposition failed to get a candidate. And if it is going to be presidential elections, there is no candidate. What about 2024 prime ministerial candidate? All the 17 political parties will jump into it. Now they withdraw. And once that the prime minister's position is there, all 17 will rush. That is the Indian democracy, dance of democracy and falsehood of opposition parties.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Rajagopalan, for your perspective. Let me go across to Madhav. Madhav, taking off from what Mr. Rajagopalan had said, if the opposition can't even come to a consensus cabinet candidate with three of their own candidates now opting out of the race, starting with Sharad Pawar, Farooq Abdullah, Gopal Krishna Gandhi also, do you think they can possibly come together when it comes to a prime ministerial candidate for 2024 going by this?
Well, that's always a challenge. That's always a challenge. As Mr. Rajgopal was saying, there are 17 political parties, and each of those political parties has their own priorities within their state that they have to look at, and also their own aspirations nationally which they are looking at. How far will this particular candidate be able to reflect that? And also, their own positioning as far as, taking on the center is very, very important. It's not going to be easy for them to come up with one particular name. Also, of course, given the fact that the numbers are not really stacked up in their favor at this point of time, bringing someone to actually, fight this fight with no clarity on whether they would actually win is, of course, going to be a very big challenge. A number of aspects, of course, Mr. Rajgopal was referring to whether invitation of Owaisi means that there could be a minority face also that is considered. Certainly, of course, all of those options are on the table. Attempt within Congress and a section of Congress also to talk about Sam Pitroda is also very much there. But the Congress itself has not formally reacted to that particular move. So all of these options being on the table, Mallikarjun Kharge, another name on which consensus many are believing.
Well, in fact, do stay on with us. Do stay on with us. Inside scoop coming into the race to Raisina. There is again, as we were discussing, a rift in the opposition.